What is up, YouTube? Jonny B here again today, and we're going to be bringing you a video on a Tesla Model 3. This is a 2021. It is a good friend of mine's, and we're going to be giving it, just a little bit subtle mods. Starting off with the front lip, which, as you can see, is already on. But the main thing about this video is going to be doing the lowering springs. Never done it on a Tesla. Obviously, I've done it on multiple other cars. So it's going to be cool to see how it goes from stock height to about 1.5 inches lower. So let's start off with the front. Got the wheel off. This Tesla brake caliper looks really cool. This is the dual motor model, so it's got all-wheel drive, and it's really fast. So it's pretty cool to see. So it looks like it's a traditional suspension. We have most likely some bolts underneath the hood over there. We're gonna have to remove the sway bar end link, and then we're gonna have to remove this big bottom bolt right here. It looks like very similar to a Civic. So here we have the lowering springs we're going to be going with. These are H&R lowering springs. They lower a little bit more than the iBox. That's why the customer went with these ones. So I'm really curious to see what the car's going to look like after we put these on. Ooh, comes with some nice silver shiny stickers. American flag. Oh, these are nice. What? Made in Germany, H&R. They're like a matte blue. This actually looks really good. So it's looking like the smaller ones are the fronts, and these bigger ones are the rears, because it uses a separate spring to shock combo in the back. And then the front, it uses a traditional coilover, so the coil over the shock itself, or the strut. So nice. Now we got to figure out how to take everything apart. So to start off, we're gonna have to remove all of this plastic area, because we need to get to the bolts that are holding up the strut that seem to be in this area. So I looked around, I found 2 bolts under this thing. You just kind of pull this thing up, you unclip the light. There's another 2 bolts here, and then another 2 bolts here, and go ahead and pull on it, and it looks like the rest of it is just clip on. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this now. And there seems to be one more right here next to the brake master. So after deciding how I'm gonna do this and tackle it, I noticed that the bottom here, the bolt, that's a 21. So you take out the nut, you take out the bolt. Still taking out the bolt, it's a little bit difficult. But once that comes out, it'll be perfectly fine. Up here on this top A-arm, there is a 15mm nut with a T50 Torx. Take that off. This comes off really easily. You have a 10mm here that's holding on the brake line. You just have some clips that you just pull out. Use a little special clip puller, and that popped right off. And then for the sway bar end link, that is an 18mm, so that all came out. So it's pretty much all out. The only thing I'm gonna need is to do these top ones, which are 13s. Just my socket seems to be too small for this hole. So I got both front struts out. It was a bit of a pain to get the 13mm that's on here because of the hole being too small for the socket. But shaving down the socket enabled me to be able to do that. So now we got them off, and now we have to go ahead and remove this nut. You have a 17mm socket there, and if you put an Allen key there, you should be able to get that out. So let's go ahead and take the top hats off and put the new springs in. So I got the top of the struts installed. Got all that mounted up. So right now they're just hanging from the top. I still got to put together all the bottom, but since I'm done with the top, I went ahead and put the tub back in just to make sure that this is all going in back into place. Make sure I did all the bolts for the upper arm, like aluminum piece that kind of holds it all together. I did loosen it to be able to kind of center the holes on the strut to get the strut off. But same thing on this side, we just have the strut on there hanging. And now I'm gonna go ahead and lift it up so I can go ahead and bolt down everything. Pretty much applying a little bit of pressure here, was able to loosen this up. This comes out, it's safe. There's no issue of the spring being super compressed, and just letting the pressure out of the trans jack to let that come down. So another way that you could use this would be to use like a regular jack. Obviously, if you're not on a lift like I am, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, but it's still doable with a regular jack. Went ahead and stuck the spring in there. You just want to make sure you line it up to its original location. On the rubber pieces, there's actually marks from where the old spring was, and you can actually line it up to that. Same thing on the bottom, you line it up to that. There's like a spot there where it's the way it fits. And with me pressuring it with the trans jack, we actually fully compress the suspension. And once the suspension is compressed, you're allowed to tighten this down, because if you do it anytime before that, you can actually damage the rubber over time. So always make sure that when you're going to tighten the bolts that are connected to like rubber suspension parts, that you do it on full compression. That way they're going to last a lot longer and they're not going to wear out. Especially on a brand new car, we don't want the suspension to go out sooner than it has to. So Tesla owner came in for the Tesla. He's about to drive it out. Look at that. You want to make some noise? Oh wait, the car doesn't make noise. Oh, it does make tire noise though. So that's it for the video, guys. I hope this helped you to get some lowering springs on your Tesla. And we'll see that car later once we do a diffuser, which we're waiting on to get that done.